Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk you through my favourite thrillers. So I did a video that was thrillers for beginners, which I will put up here, and I had a really positive response to that video, which was lovely, but a lot of people were asking me what my favourite thrillers are, so I thought I would do this video. It's just going to be a quick fun. I've got 6 thrillers to talk you through, and also thought I'd chat a bit about what I personally love in a thriller. Yeah, and hopefully you'll get some recommendations. So for me, a good thriller has to be well written. And it needs to be tense, and it needs to have at least one good twist or reveal. It doesn't matter to me if I see the reveal coming. I read a lot of thrillers, so I understand that I'm likely to pick up on cues earlier than people that don't read loads of thrillers, and that's fine. So it doesn't bother me if I see the twist coming or if I know what's going to happen, but there has to be that like level of skill in the writing for me to like count it as a favourite. So I've tried to rank these basically in level of violence. So the ones towards the end are not for beginners, but the first couple might be okay if you're new to the genre. So the first one I'm going to recommend is not strictly a thriller. I'm also quite into genre blends where it's a thriller slash something. So this is technically historical fiction, but it's also one of the most tense things I've ever read, and that is The Silent Companions by Purcell. I know I keep going on about this book, but people need to read it. I absolutely adore this book. I've mentioned it loads, so I won't talk about it too much here, but basically we're in the 1800s or early 19th century. Anyway, there's a woman called Elsie who is newly married and pregnant, but she's also been widowed, and she is basically sent to her dead husband's estate to have the baby. When she gets there, she finds these wooden figures called Silent Companions, and it goes from there. And I'm not saying anything more than that, but I would say that this is quite a good indication of the plot, let's just say that. It's creepy, it's clever, it's twisted, it's quite dark. I thoroughly loved it, and I would count it as a thriller. So that's the first one I've got to recommend for you. Secondly is one that's quite a Marmite book here on Booktube, I think, and that is The Wife Between Us by Greer, Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. This is the only one of theirs that I've read because I loved this so much. I'm too scared to read the others, and I haven't heard great things. But I also haven't heard great things about this book, and it's one of my favourite thrillers, so maybe I should just suck it up and do it. This is one that I will definitely reread. That's also for me a sign of a good thriller if I want to reread it. I think a lot of thrillers, you read them, it's kind of fun, but they're kind of disposable and you just sort of move on to the next one. Whereas these, I will definitely be rereading if I haven't already. Like for example, The Silent Companions, I've probably read this 4 or 5 times, as you can probably tell from the state of this copy. I mean, oh, it's bent there. It's been well loved. This is one that I definitely want to come back to. So we basically start with a woman who's in a relationship with a man who is also going through a divorce, and his wife is causing trouble, and that is as much as I'll say because this one is really easy to spoil if you say the wrong thing. I think I'll read. I know people don't like it when booktubers read the back of books, but I feel like the back of this book sets it up so well. So it says, when you read this book, you will make many assumptions. It's about a jealous wife obsessed with her replacement. It's about a younger woman set to marry the man she loves. The first wife seems like a disaster. Her replacement is the perfect woman. You will assume you know the motives, the history, the anatomy of the relationships. You will be wrong. I loved this. It's psychological, it's twisty, it's got a reveal that even I didn't see coming. And I remember reading it and actually gasping out loud when I got to the reveal. So yeah, this is making me want to reread this like right now. So it's definitely one I would highly recommend, and it's definitely a favourite. Next up is an author that I've had a bit of a potted history with previously, but I read this last year and it's absolutely definitely one of my favourite thrillers, and again I'll be rereading it, and that's Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. I thought this was genius. I had happened to read The Turn of the Screw a couple of months before this came out, which is by Henry James, which is definitely an influence on this book. This is not a direct retelling, but there are definite vibes of the classic in this. We basically follow a woman who takes a job as a nanny. I think it's up in Scotland, somewhere remote, and the house is a smart house, so everything is controlled by an app. The parents go away for work, and she's left with these 3 kids in this house, and stuff happens, and it's creepy. I thought this was really well done. It was really tense. It's very rare that I will buy a hardback of a thriller, but I was just so intrigued. I'd seen so many people rave about it that I did give into the Booktube hype on this one, but for once it paid off. And I would really recommend this. It's not gory that I remember, it's very psychological, and I think if you've read Turn of the Screw first and then read this, I think you might have a better reading experience. It won't give away the twist in this, but I think it just adds, if you've got that in the back of your mind, I think it just adds to the overall reading experience and the atmosphere. But even if you just read this on its own, it's really atmospheric. It's creepy as hell, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Right, we're now getting into the more graphic, violent end of things. So if you're a beginner, these last three are probably not for you, but I flipping love them. The first of those is 13 by Steve Kavanaugh. Like he said, I love a clever thriller. This is one of the most clever books I've ever read. And it says right on the cover, the serial killer isn't on trial, he's on the jury. Which tells you what you need to know. Now I really want to reread this again. This is the 4th book in the Eddie Flynn series, but you do not have to read the others to be able to read this. This was my first one that I've read. I've now gone back and worked my way through the others. I've got one more to read. Actually, I think this is book 5. Anyway, it's in a series. Eddie Flynn is a New York lawyer, and he takes a case of a celebrity who has been accused of killing his wife. So it's very much influenced by O.J. Simpson. But the twist is that we also get the murderer's point of view, but he is not the husband of the woman that's been murdered. He's in fact manipulated his way onto the jury and is watching the whole thing unfold from the jury box. It's so clever because you don't know which one of the jury members the murderer is, and I had bets on it. I swapped a few times, but I was pretty sure by the end that I knew who it was, and I absolutely didn't. It completely threw me by surprise, caught me by surprise, and I thought it was really, really clever. Absolutely loved it. Then, would it be a What Victoria Read book video about thrillers if Sweetpea didn't feature by CJ Skuse? What are you going to do? I've banged on about this book loads, so I won't talk about it too much here, but we're basically following Rhiannon, who is an ordinary seeming woman. She's got a job that she kind of hates. She lives with a boyfriend and their relationship's not great. She's got a little dog that she loves. And occasionally she kills people. You know, just an ordinary girl. I loved this because it was so unexpected. It's blurbed on the front as Bridget Jones meets American Psycho, which it is. Although we don't talk about American Psycho on this channel because that book was not good. But I know what they mean by that. It's very funny and you find yourself on Rhiannon's side and understanding what she's doing and her motives, and then you suddenly find yourself thinking, well, hang on, she's killing people. And it's like, yeah, but they deserved it because of XYZ. So I thought this was fab. I also really enjoyed In Bloom, which was the follow-up, and there is apparently another book coming, a 3rd book coming. I think it's later this year or early in 2021. I'm very excited about that. And yeah, if you're looking for something that's like inappropriately funny and twisted, Sweetpea is for you. And then finally, if I absolutely had to choose one book as my favourite thriller, like if someone forced me to choose one, I would struggle, but I would choose The Good Daughter by Karin. I love this book, which is obviously why it's on this list, but in terms of it ticking all the boxes for me, it's really cleverly written, it's got a great twist, it's got characters you care about. This is the book. I've read a few Karin now, and this is definitely my favourite of those. We're basically following a family. So 28 years ago, they were at home one night, some people burst in, killed the mother, traumatised the girls, left the father grieving. We then skip forward 28 years and we follow the sisters. One of them has left the family behind and is very distant from them. The other one is working for her dad as a defence lawyer. He's not very well liked in the town because he defends all the people that the town think shouldn't have a defence. And then something happens that brings them all back together and we get the truth of what really happened on that night. It moves back and forward in time. You get different perspectives on the attack on their house. And I just thought it was so clever and wonderful. And I would really recommend it. However, it's a Karin, so it is not for the faint-hearted. This is incredibly graphic and also needs a content warning for rape. But if you can handle those topics, I would definitely recommend this. So those are my favourite thrillers. Please leave me a comment below with your favourite thriller if you've got one, or let me know if you've read any of these, if you liked them. Hopefully this has been useful and you've got some recommendations from me or a better idea of the kind of thing that I like. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks guys, bye!